Loriaki, Nick Bear, and write the beat next week.
Hey.
Wake up! Sorry, you're not quiet. Just be quiet. Just indoctrinated you. I know that. Alright, Les Bailey, Erin Benarby. Woo! That's number one. Yay! Yes! That's awesome. I love that. Alright, here, Robert Bassett, Joe Bell, Katrina Benton. Katrina. Andy Gergestrand, Scott Blair, Shane Blattler, Nick Bobo, Tyler Bobo, the Bobo Brothers. That's awesome. Yes. Bob Golding, Mark Bouchard, Woody Brinkhurst, Dave Brown, Corna Cochran.
Dave Brown's here.
Dave Brown's here. Dave. There we go. Oh, Chris Nicole a whole bunch of times. Kai Coleman, Lisa Connor, Kevin Cross, Mickey Davis.
There you go.
She's pregnant. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. Alright, Steve Day, Brenton DeWan. 2013, Brenton. Matt Demick. Amy Durkis, I think that's number one as well. Yeah, awesome. Miss Michelle Warner. Carrie Dreyer, Chris Drusdo, Ed Erickson, Jonathan Didich.
No. Okay.
Yes. Lane Gunther, Quake Hayden, Liz Hookanaddle.
She's coming.
Yeah. Open. Butch Jakes, Michael King, Melissa, 3 times. Hello. Mr. Joe Lowndes, Heidi Lucas, Ryan May Lucas, Karen McMaster.
I'm serious.
Christy Mock, a whole bunch of times. Wow. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Reed Moore, Kareem Muir, Holly Meyer, Stephen Ollendorf, Stephanie Ollendorf.
That's really funny.
Diet Owen, Elizabeth Parent, Randy Pennington, Cherry Perkins, Clinton, Carrie Joe, sorry. Carrie Joe. Too many questions. Carrie Perkins, Not me. Don't throw.
971 number?
Clinton Peterson, Dan Potts, KP, Heather Powell, Brittany Radford, John Rodriguez, Michael Schwartz, Michelle Sanford, Jacob Sebring. Stuart, that was a great snack. That was great. That was good.
We texted when we were doing that thing.
We've been
That high
practicing
school
that.
thing.
All right, Miss Liz Spike, Jennifer Stalka. That was a spin. That's not blue. Holly Meyer got one. You walk in the door. Alright, we got Dawn Storm, Derek Suter, Jesse Tanner, Clay Thompson, Miss Erica Tynes, Ryan Tollison, Dar Walden, Tracy Williams, Dan Mulvin, Kylie Wise. Where'd she go? The spirit. She's afraid she's going to get hit by a line. Hold it. She'll be back. She'll be back. So, it is so good to be back and finally catching our breath. Before we launch into kind of family reunion recap with you guys, I do want to go through profit share checks because that is something that, of course, we're super excited about. More excited about the fact that we actually profit shared in January, which is amazing. We've only done that one time ever in 6 years. January is a tough month for everybody. So we did a 200% increase over last year in terms of profit share. Last year we lost $6,800. This year we profit shared $6,800. So really, really fantastic. So Brianna Tollison, there she is. the whole lunch was worth it. Brianna Tollison, $1. Fred Owen, $2. Carla Lucas, $2. Bob Golding, $3. Bron Day, $4. Ryan Tollison, $5. That makes $6 for the Tollison family. John Parks, $6. Kylie Lucas, $12. Sean Donahue, $13. Caroline Striano, $17. Steve Day, $18. Katrina Benton got her first profit share check, $22.
Yeah.
It's a start. Jacob Sebring, $26 in the back. Congratulations. You're buying lunch.
Thank you.
Larry Malden, $38. Mark Vandigo, $48. Big money. Amy Peltier, $49. Michelle Sanford, $49, and you missed your payday, but you know, I'll get you next time. Allison Bradley, $58.
Yeah.
That one makes me really happy. Carter Reed, $69. Kareem Muir, $70. Joe Bell, $70. Brian Sherburne, $72. Charlie Sandberg, not in Florida, $73. Marcy Bouchard, where'd she go? $83. I saw her walk in. There she is. Nani with you guys, but $89 for Miss Nani. $93 for Jeannie Erickson, $106 for Ed Erickson. Les Bailey, $112. Reed Moore, $121. Butch Jakes, $126. Isn't White. David Armstrong, $149. Let's see. Diet Owen, $192. Diet, by the way, just so you guys keep her in your thoughts, is on her way in 2 days to the Philippines for a missions trip. And apparently there's some pretty intense stuff happening down there right now, and it's fairly dangerous. So just keep her in your thoughts and prayers for safety. Matt Dimmick, $235. Kevin Cross, $237. Lindsay Holland, Sizemore, sorry, $245. I don't see her in here. Mike Schwartz, $277. Beth Simpson, $286. Nancy Dimmick, $377. So that's the start. I'm excited to see what happens this year. We've got big things on the horizon, so that's going to be incredible. So let's get to talking about family reunions. Just quick show of hands. Anybody in the room who was there? Raise your hands. Okay, wow. Oh gosh, that's awesome. I just want to kind of open it up. Basically, I want to hear, you've been back for, some of you a day, some of you longer. You've been back for a little bit of time. What is going on in your mind now? What did you take away? What are you implementing? Talk to me. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Mando.
My focus at family reunion this year, instead of trying to do everything like Gary talked about the buffet, having a little bit of everything, and not getting anything out of it too much. My deal was I just picked 3 things I want to concentrate on: lead generation, team building, and leadership. And a couple of my ahas. I was listening to this one speaker, and he said, McDonald's, biggest food franchisee in the world, who runs it? It's not the owners or the corporate shareholders, or even the CEO or general manager. It's a 17-year-old kid making minimum wage, and he may not even be there tomorrow. How is this possible? With systems and models. And it was a big aha for me, because I don't have to hire a $27 an hour, hugely expensive help. To be a high school kid. As long as I have it printed out, here, this is what you have to do and how you do it.
Your responsibility is to create the great systems and models that anybody can step into and be successful.
Well, and I don't even have to create it, they're already hired for us. Thank you, Gary Keller, and the rest of them. And then on the one thing, Gary said that doing one thing may mean you do lots of things poorly. I do my one thing and make sure it gets done. But I'm literally not good at all things, so some people just don't understand. When you major in the minors, you win. And to me, that just means that when you're focused on your one thing, you start producing it at an extremely high level, your life's going to get messy. And I'll just share one more thing. One of my action plans is a written leadership growth plan.
Love it. Good deal. What else? Fire away.
I think that working in real estate, you feel like you can't ever get away sometimes, and making those plans and scheduling things to get away and invest in yourself. And I think that going to family reunion, even though coming over here 3 days later after I third week in the office.
Yeah, you moved brokerages and then left town for a week.
But after going there, I realized I came back and I told my wife, okay, so now I need to go to Group Select, and that's next month in March in Federal Way, Washington. She said, well, how's that going to happen? I don't know. It's a priority, so it has to happen. And, Megan Camp and I were planning for the next year's family reunion. My wife said, we're going to go down together. And you have to calendar those things and just believe they're going to happen. And if you believe it can happen, it will happen. So
Yeah.
there's that was important.
If it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist, right? We know that, and you just have to commit to making it happen. Excellent. What other ahas? What did you guys take away? You guys are way too quiet, because I know you got a lot. Deb?
We did this actually with our team yesterday, but one of the things that I wanted to share with our team was I went to several panels and a bunch of classes, and the thing that I kept hearing over and over again was that you don't have to create the method in which to make these successful. It's already there. All the resources are there for you, and anyone can do it. Whether, and I was saying, Dawn Storm on our team, I go, she was around when Fred Flintstone bought his first cave, and I'm like, we've got some brand new people, but I went, Ben Kinney gave a great speech, and basically, now he's got a model for the way his team runs, but basically he said, if you're on my team, you make at least 50 phone calls a day, you will get at least one appointment. He said, if you're really strong on my team, you make 150 and get 3 a day. So he was, basically the systems are there, and they gave websites. They said, another panelist from Boston said, he goes on Facebook, and on Facebook there's what do you call it a group on Facebook, which I'm not on, so, but it's called Great Scripts on Facebook, and you can Google it, and they put their best scripts on there, and you text them. He said every day grab somebody for 15 minutes to get fired up, they role play, and then they hit the phone. And he said, anyone can do this, it's all there. And Ben Kinney, for his team, which I thought was really great, anytime someone comes to him and says, like, how do I order new business cards, or how do I do something, he said, even if I'm just explaining it, he goes, I hit record on my computer, I video myself doing it, and then that way everyone on the team just goes right to that. So instead of bothering the people in charge over and over again for the same thing, he just goes, hit the video, it's on, I think, YouTube or something. But it was a great format for freeing up time, at the top, so you could get stuff done.
Does that with Zendesk.
What?
Zendesk, all the
Zendesk.
systems are that way. So I mean, if you've got, I mean, it's as detailed as if you're going to teach someone how to do a listing contract in Flex, you go on Zendesk, he just does the video in there, it basically sees what you're doing on your computer. You can talk your way through it all, so he makes a video on this is how you set up a listing contract, so that his admin, he never has to train him again. And any new people come in, he said, here's your videos on everything you need to know for your job.
Well, and can I just, on the back side of that comment, one of the challenges, I'm going to kind of sound like your parent for a little bit. As agents, we want everybody to do it for us. Find me a group. Find me the script. Find me this. You have more resources available here than you do anywhere else, there's no doubt about it. But you gotta get a little proactive too. Go watch a tutorial. Go watch a webinar. Go look on Google, Facebook, and find, get aggressive. Own your business. The resources are everywhere there. You don't have to have someone necessarily walk you all the way through, and you can find everything. Honestly, if you hold yourself up in your office, nobody can do this, but if you hold yourself up in your office for a week and did nothing but Google KW Connect, you could have everything, absolutely everything you needed to learn about e-edge, e-agency, scripts, listings, presentations, buyer mat. You could take all the training you needed in 5 days and never leave your desk and not have one person have to help you. Now granted, we always want the people part of it, so don't hear me wrong. Just know that it's right there. Just go look is all you have to do. And so for you to get that aha that everything is out there,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
And then the other thing I just want to plug really quick, going next year, because when I was on the plane, I ended up sitting next to this guy who was on his computer looking for houses. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? And he said, I'm moving to Florida from Dallas next week. And I said, oh, do you already have an agent? And he goes, no, I don't. And I said, well, I'm going to this really cool convention, and if you want, I could look around and I could personally interview someone for you and find you a referral. And he goes, oh, that would be great. So we sat on the plane, he told me everything he wanted, I got all the information, and I got there, and then I tried to do basically what you said, and so at meal times I ate with different people, and I ended up sitting next to, on a fluke, this whole group of lenders from Florida, which is where this guy was moving, and they said, oh, you should call this guy, he is the best. And so I called the agent, and I've connected the agent and the client, and hopefully that will be an outgoing referral for me, so they're looking now.
That is fantastic. Kylie, can you tell what happened when we were landing in Seattle?
My phone call
Yeah.
from the agent that I met, I called for a referral. We hadn't even got off the airplane.
We were
Yeah.
at the gate, like she's coming off the jetway in Seattle, and I'm waiting for her to get off the phone, and Kara and I are standing there, and I'm like, man, she must have a deal that she's really diving into. As soon as she hangs up the phone, she looks and she goes, oh my gosh. And we're like, what? She goes, I just got a referral from Family Reunion. Okay, wow. So
You're not lying.
I guess it works. I'm not making this stuff up, I promise. I mean, literally 3 hours after we left. Yes.
I didn't get any referrals down there this time. But I did refer to their.
Perfect. Perfect.
When I was talking to one down there, I got a referral from them. It wasn't directly from Family Reunion.
Well, it's the connection, right? That's all it is. I mean, and you don't know what shows up for the next year. That's the thing. So what else? What other ahas did you guys have? Nobody learned anything in a week.
Well, you know, I read the one thing on my Kindle before I went down there. It kept me awake nights because I've never had one thing in my life, you know. And I tried to figure out what my one thing was. And all through Family Reunion, I kept thinking, what's my one thing? I kept hearing it from Gary and Jay and everybody. What's the one thing? One thing. One thing. One thing. And I figured out that my one thing is time. Creating time for doing something other than work. There's all kinds of things you can do other than work. And creating time, and I've got my first buyer's agent, and I realized I'm this far from being a 7-level room, you know, because I'm all about creating that time.
Right.
And I like those guys. I got a referral on the way down there also. Yeah, I sent a referral from all the way down. It was awesome. Yep.
For me, I started listening to Gary tell that day. I was like, oh, the one thing, okay, I know what my one thing is at work. And then he started talking, and then I went to the final, the recap with him. I was like, yeah, but it's not only the one thing at work, it's the one thing at home, it's the one thing when I'm doing different things that I do. So I was like, I started learning to say no.
Yeah.
There's certain things
To live
that I
a
can
small
say.
life so you can live a big life. Lance. Please do, so that way everyone can hear you.
I brought my book, one thing, and kind of dovetail off of what Indiana was talking about. The thing that had the, I guess, resonated with me the most in here was the juggling 5 balls statement.
Yeah, that was great. You want to just read that?
Yeah, I got it right here. So, as my book is all highlighted now, and my workbook. It was in Suzanne's Diary for Nicholas by James Patterson, and he stated, imagine life as a game in which you are juggling 5 balls. The balls are called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. And you're keeping all of them in the air, but one day you finally come to understand that work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other 4 balls, family, health, friends, integrity, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it will be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, perhaps even shattered. And you know, that really resonated with me because, you know, the whole intent, the nice thing about this book to me in reading it is I don't even know that he mentions real estate in it ever, okay? As opposed to his other books that he's written that's all real estate specific. You could give this book to anybody, and it could improve their life.
Ed Erickson's 90-something-year-old mother is living right now. I saw on Facebook yesterday.
And the whole premise behind it is at any given moment throughout your day, there's one thing that you should be doing at that time. Now, that one thing when I'm at home, is that one thing prospecting for leads? Probably not. It should be focused on my family, doing something with them. But when I'm at work, my one thing for 3 hours a day should be lead generating. You know, so it's asking yourself, and the back and focus question mark is asking yourself that focusing question. What is the one thing that if I do it such that everything else becomes unnecessary or easier? So, you know, it's a good book. I'm actually really enjoying it. I mean, having listened to him for what? It seemed like 6 hours, like 4 hours. Talked about it, and then I bought the book, and I've been reading it since I got on the plane.
It's called
and,
immersion therapy.
Yeah.
Is what we do here.
So, it's a really good book, and one of my, definitely probably my favorite one that he's written. So.
Did anybody else appreciate the balancing conversation? So for those of you who weren't there, one of the things Gary talks about a lot, and he dives into it here, is that we all have this myth of a balanced life, and it's a myth. Just forget it. There is no such thing as a balanced life. Because there are times when your family is going to need you more than your work needs you. And you're going to be balanced, counterbalanced that direction. There will be times that work needs you more than your family needs you. Your job is counterbalancing, right? It's doing what you have to do to get it back in sync as quickly as you can. Understand that life is inevitably going to be doing this. So as he was explaining it, and I've heard this is part of Quantum Leap, so I've heard this for years and I get it, and it actually really liberated me because I felt like I was chasing this idea of a balanced life and never getting there, so therefore I was a failure because I couldn't live this balanced life. And then I realized that I was striving for a non-existent entity, that I was striving to hit something that is never going to happen. So then he gave the illustration with the one thing where he remember, those of you who were there, we have to stand up and stand on one leg. Now what happens when you stand up and you stand on one leg? Physically, what do you feel? You feel energy going through your leg that's balancing, right? And it's kind of shaky and you're actually firing off down to the ground. You're not balanced. You're what? Balancing. Balancing. Balance is a noun. Balancing is a verb. So what we're doing, he said, is you're constantly balancing, therefore you're constantly counterbalancing. And I was like, okay, it's action. It's not this state of existence I'm striving to get to where I can say, I walk out of my door at 9 o'clock in the morning and I turn on work hat, then I work till 5, then I turn off work hat and I'm home. Now I'm mom and nothing interferes with that. I live a perfectly balanced life. Never gonna happen. I'm constantly counterbalancing and it's a verb, it's an action. I'm putting the balls back and forth and back and forth. And that awareness and that idea of counterbalancing being a verb was a huge aha for me. I don't know if that hit anybody else, square between the eyes, but it did me.
I think, like a couple of years ago when he started talking about it, I think it was a morning session 2 years ago, family reunion, he started talking about the one thing a little bit, and I didn't really agree with it. I was just, I just can't wrap my brain around that. I mean, multitasking, we're real estate agents, we multitask, and that's what we do. I think this session back around really emphasized, I mean, he really defined it a lot better. I think when they were talking about the research about how, where they're comparing, people are multitasking 3 or 4 different items, compared to one person just focusing on just one item, what the outcomes were, where you actually have, what he said, 50 or 60% better results with when you're just focusing on that one item.
Let's do the exercise real quick. If you've got a pen, some of you were here and some of you weren't. I want to make sure that people who weren't there get the benefit. If you've got a pen, flip over a piece of paper real quick. Okay, so I want you to write the alphabet. Yeah, write the alphabet across.
1 through 10.
A through J. Okay, so write straight across the alphabet through J, A through J, and then write straight across 1 through 10. You just do it. Then you go, and for those of you who want to try it at home, then you do this. You write A through J, 1 through 10, but start with a letter, then go to a number. So A, 1, B, 2, C, 3. Which one takes longer to do? Why? Because you're multitasking, right? You're trying to do 2 things at 2 times. I'll give you the perfect illustration. This was, many of you heard this. This was, if I didn't believe Gary's statement about multitasking, which I did before we left, I certainly do now. Because I realized, class let out. What happens? Class lets out. You've got 11,500 people all scrapping. Everybody's running to get to the next class. They all dump into the halls. Everybody's on their phone. You're returning your texts, returning your emails, returning your calls. And I had to hit the bathroom as fast as I could because I was about to die. And I walk in, and it wasn't until I was at the urinals that I realized.
This one definitely took more time.
I was about to go this is what
wondering about that.
That's true. That's
shocked me. Number 1, when there was no line, I should have known I was broken. But number 2, do you know, I mean, in all seriousness, those bathrooms are crowded in between the breaks. From the doorway into the urinal section. Do you know how many men passed me? I didn't see a thing. Not a thing. And that's where I'm going, I can't multitask. I just walked into the men's bathroom, all the way deep into the heart of it. I went into
It's really funny.
I just started laughing at myself because I was like, if I ever would have argued with Gary about multitasking, I just completely proven his point.
So Jen,
My-
did you stay or did you have to?
Dude, my face got so red. Everybody, some guy goes, I think you're in the wrong place. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, you know, it's a lot like we were in the sports bar, and I was drinking 3 drinks, and Matt was drinking 1 drink, and it was actually
So no, but I appreciate you putting that. What other action plans? What other ahas? Kara?
I came in a few minutes late.
Sit with me, I was playing.
I know. No, I walked in a few minutes late, so I apologize if this has already been discussed. However, I loved when Gary talked about replacing your to-do list with a success list. And I am a list person. I write to-do lists all the time for myself, my kids, I mean everyone. And it really impacted me to realize that as I'm writing a list, or as I have my list down, the way for me to be able to choose what is the most important priority is to create a success list. And as I've done so, I've been shocked how short my success list really is. In fact, there's not much on it from my to-do list, which tells me that those things that are on my to-do list are probably unnecessary or can go away. Now, I mean, at some point they need to be done, and that's not what he was saying, not don't do any of them. What he was saying is your success list is what's going to give you success. And just for me visualizing replacing the word to do with success, it's helped me to be very discerning as to what I put on that list. And if I put something on that list, it will get done and it will help me have success. Now, one of the things actually on there this week is to do my son's science fair project because it's due Friday and didn't get done when I was gone. So, I mean, that is something that, you know, so it's not limited to only my job, or I haven't limited, but it's given me freedom to be able to concentrate on the things that are the most important and the most necessary right now, and that the other things can fill in later, or someone else can do them, or they don't get done.
Well, and I think the challenge we all have to this idea of time blocking for the one thing is that we go, well, you know, I have so much to do, and I get so busy. There's a reason that we're taught to do our one thing in the morning. Guys, the willpower is huge, so we'll get to that, hold that thought, we'll get to that in 2 seconds. Guys, really and truly, almost everything that we fill our 9 to 11 with can wait. How many of you have buyers on a consistent, regular, day-by-day basis that want to see property at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning? Where are your buyers? They're at work. I mean, every once in a while you get that guy that works 4/10s, and so every other Friday he's off, and so you're going to show property in the morning. For the most part, you don't have buyers in the morning. You don't have listing appointments at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning. Everything that we let fill this spot, we let fill this spot. And most of it can be handled after 11. Now we respond to pressures, right? Because that lender is jumping up and down on top of their desk and screaming at us, they want it now, now, now. Well, that's their issue. And I'm not saying things aren't important, so hear me, to take care of your clients and take care of your deals. Just understand that we give things power that they don't necessarily have. So, and that's why Gary says do it in the morning. Because if you try to time block to lead generate from 3 to 5, I get that some of you do this. I'm not going to tell you specifically. And if you try and generate from 3 to 5, what are you going to be busy doing?